There's no evidence that God exists. Here's a really simple one. And again, I'm not a scientist, but I like to read those who are. And I know enough, just about enough to get myself in trouble. But I do know enough to be able to at least point to some things and say, look there's some things going on in the physical world that clearly point to something beyond just mere chance and necessity, as would be the explanation, that would be the naturalistic evolutionary explanation, the explanation from naturalism. And here's an example that I like to use. I'm a huge Lego fan. I have unashamedly lived very vicariously through my son as he's aged, as he's grown over time, in getting him all the Lego stuff that I want to play with for Christmas and his birthday. And I forget how many years ago this was, but we got the Millennium Falcon. He got the Millennium Falcon for Christmas one year. And I did a photobomb because I thought it would belong to me too. But this was great. It was awesome. There were about 1,329 bricks in the box. This was going to take us a while. So I was looking forward to Christmas break that year. So I'm a big Lego fan. Are there any Lego fans in the room? Am I the only nerd? Oh, good. All right. Star Wars Lego? Any Star Wars Lego fans? Yeah, oh, okay. There's actually an interesting bit of history, trivia. There's actually a life-size X-Wing fighter. If you're not a Star Wars fan, then this means nothing to you. But in Southern California, at Legoland in Southern California, there's a life-size X-Wing that's been made out of actual Lego bricks. So this is to scale as the ship in the movie, the Star Wars movie. And it contains 5,335,200 bricks. So in scale, it is just so far beyond what Blake got for Christmas, Blake and I got for Christmas. There's just a comparison in terms of the sophistication. I mean, the Millennium Falcon was a cool toy, lots of details, but it was nothing in comparison to that model. Some of the discoveries in microbiology that have occurred over the last couple of decades are absolutely amazing. And I love to read, there are quite a number of Christian biologists who do research, really good research, and write about the findings within the world of cellular biology. In all of our bodies, filled with red blood cells. Just to look at this simple cell in the human body, that our body produces about 2.4 million of them every second. That's what's being produced by our bone marrow. Blood cells, which makes up about a quarter of all the cells in your body. That's a lot. So I think about it in this terms. In terms of constructing a blood cell, a single blood cell, one of the 2.4 million made every second in your body, how many bricks would it take to construct that? And the term brick is not too far off of reality. They're constructed. One red blood cell is actually made up of 181 different kinds of bricks. They're not actual bricks. They're referred to as proteins. Proteins are structural molecules that, when assembled together, form the form and function of the cells in our bodies. So there are 181 different proteins or bricks. And again, if you think about it like Lego pieces, you think about different sizes and shapes of Lego pieces, 181 different ones. Imagine how you could configure all those Lego pieces to make different things. The possibilities are endless. My question is, of those 181 different kinds of bricks, how many of them are red? How many of them are the red bricks? How many red bricks are there? Well, in one blood cell, the red brick is not actually a brick. It's actually a hemoglobin molecule. Hemoglobin is the basic protein molecule that simply carries the oxygen atom. That's what allows red blood cells to carry oxygen through our bodies. In one red blood cell, there are 280 million red bricks, or hemoglobin molecules. That's a lot. All those bricks. But it's interesting that each red brick, each hemoglobin molecule, is also made up of even smaller bricks. They're called amino acids. How many of you are biology majors, by the way? 1, 2, okay, 3. You three guys afterwards cannot come up and correct my biology. I'm an armchair enthusiast. But anyway, I think I'm getting at least close to a good synopsis. There are approximately 574 amino acids, or smaller bricks, that make up a hemoglobin molecule. And it's not even that simple, because there are 21 different kinds of amino acids. So right now, we're not talking about a cell anymore. We're talking about one brick, one of 280 million, that makes up one blood cell. And of course, that's only one kind of brick. And that brick is made up of 21 different kinds of amino acids configured together in a chain that is 576 links long. And the amino acids, again, they are structural molecules. They are shaped in a certain way, so when particular ones are chained together, the structure of them causes them to fold and bend, and that's what then forms the structure of the molecule, the hemoglobin molecule in this case, which also then determines its function. It's fascinating. And the reason I like this is because I understand Lego, I understand bricks and chains, very physical, concrete things. And when it's broken right down, that's what is making up the cells of our bodies. These structures. And in order for that chain to become a hemoglobin molecule, it actually has to be linked together with exactly the right combination of amino acids in exactly the right order. It's not just random. It can't just be, let's get a bunch of amino acids and string them together. It has to be exactly right. Or the structures won't fold the right way, so the molecule won't take the right form, so it won't serve the right function, so it won't work. It's almost as sophisticated as, how many of you have seen the movie Enigma? That was the code-breaking machine that they built back in the Second World War. The kinds of odds that they were against in trying to crack the codes were absolutely mind-boggling. The odds of this happening by chance, let's just assume for illustration purposes, a much smaller brick or a much smaller chain of only 100 links, okay? We're talking about the hemoglobin, that's 576. Let's just, for illustration, 100. There's actually no chain that's that small that forms any molecule in any cell. But this is just for illustration purposes. And assume that there's only 20 different amino acids, not 21. It's helpful to round up for illustrations. The odds of just the right order of one chain to form one molecule happening by chance would be 1 in 20 to the power of 100. Or that's 10 to the power of 130. And if you want to get a sense for how big a number that is, the estimated number of atoms in the entire universe is 10 to the power of 80. So the odds of that happening by chance in our imaginary illustration, very small chain of amino acids, is so astronomically greater than 1 in the number of atoms in the known universe. It would be like piling dimes on the North American continent to cover every square inch and then piling them up to the moon. And then reaching inside and finding exactly 1 dime out of the whole pile. Bruce Alberts, who's president of the National Academy of Sciences, he says this, that the entire cell can be viewed as a factory that contains an elaborate network of interlocking assembly lines, each of which is composed of a large set of protein machines. Again, this is not a Christian speaking. This is a scientist, American scientist, president of the National Academy of Sciences. He says, why do we call them machines? Precisely because, like machines invented by humans, these protein assemblies contain highly coordinated moving parts. And there's a great little video, or there's a set of videos. I don't have time to show them today. They're actually computer animations. I was going to play them, but they'll take up too much time. But they're computer animations of what's actually going on inside the cell when a single RNA strand is being assembled and replicated into, actually the illustration is a hemoglobin molecule. And the intricacy of the mechanics and the precision is absolutely mind-boggling, such that one red blood cell in our bodies, it makes this look like child's play. It just dwarfs by beyond imagination in terms of sophistication and complexity to assemble one blood cell, one red blood cell in our bodies. And so for me, I would just want to put something like that to the person I'm talking to who says, there's no evidence that there's a God out there. To say that, you know what, far from being no evidence for God, I think what science shows us, just about a single cell, is that life is the result of an unimaginably intelligent mind. The odds of that happening by chance, it takes more faith to believe in that than that there's a creator who is so unimaginably brilliant as to construct something so sophisticated and precise as a single cell. And that's just the cell. And as I mentioned in the last session, that might not convince them. It might not. And they might walk away and say, no. But I always try to leave them with Jesus. You see, because here's what the Bible tells me, that the Son is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. For in him all things were created, all things have been created through him and for him. You see, I don't think my faith is irrational at all. Because what science seems to point out clearly to me is that our world screams design. It absolutely screams it. And that makes sense to me, because I believe that there is a brilliant designer behind it all. So tell me why that is irrational. Why would that be contrary to reason? Leave them with a question. Again, is it a slam dunk? Maybe not. But I'm trying to leave a pebble in their shoe. That's all I'm trying to do. Because I can't make them believe anything. Right? All I'm trying to do is be a good witness, is to be a good ambassador.